Well, I mean, they're both wet.
It's a river too far. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Elder Elves, where stuff happens before we hit record, and then you get the tail end of it, and be thankful that you get the tail end of it and not the beginning of it. Also, this happens to be a stream about Dungeons and Dragons right now. We're talking about elements of playing role-playing games and TTRPGs and how to do it. And, if you're beginning, it's kind of like a how-to, but you can also listen to it if you know what's going on. And right now, last time we talked about world building, and today we're going to talk about alignments a little bit, / playing your characters and whether you use alignments or not, or if you want to use them, or if you like them, or if they're dumb.
Oh, that's a lot. And maybe, y'all want to engage with us on this, talk to us about it. If that's the case, you can hit me up on Threads, because I'm over there as Obscure Abrasion.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to, but you can. Or on TikTok, we're over there as the Elder Elves, and if
Instagram.
you're a little shy, Instagram. Though I couldn't figure out how to link the Elder Elves
The
to
Threads.
Yeah, it's being weird, so.
That's fine. Instagram,
I'm also
Facebook.
a millennium. I don't know how to.
Did you say millennium? Did you say you're a millennium?
I'm a millennium. Yep.
Are you a Millennium Falcon?
God, if only.
I know. Don't we all wish?
That we were that big ship.
Yep.
All right, well, let's talk.
Honka.
So, all right, Colin, tell me. All right. Do you use alignments? When you create a character, are you out there living your full chaotic self just because, or are you actively thinking about your character's alignment?
No. I don't think I have ever assigned an alignment to a character. I understand them for the most part, but the more I listen to other people talk about them, the more it seems like everybody is at least a little bit confused about every what am I thinking of, like correlation or parameter or everything like that. I will say I took an alignment test, an online test, to see what my real life alignment was, and I was straight smack in the dabble, pure neutral. Neutral. Which I saw and I was like, yeah, that seems right.
Yeah. I took one and I was lawful good.
Oh, interesting.
Like Paladin-esque, lawful good. And I'm like, yeah, I guess, like, I'm pretty... I mean, I was going to be a police officer, so I guess I
mean, that makes sense.
Do
you have, or can you look up what they all vaguely mean, or can you talk to it? I can't really talk to it that well because I never use it.
I could talk to it. I can actually go grab the book and read it out, but
yeah,
for the most part, it's on a talk-wise. It's supposed to be how your character kind of views themselves in the world, how they react to situations in the world. I think a lot of people that play now, like for me, and even the people I play with, we've kind of like, they've brought up kind of the alignment stuff, but I just feel like everyone kind of falls in real life in a medium, they're like, you're in the middle, and depending on the situation will determine like where your pendulum goes. There's, certain classes that originally that you could only be if you were a certain, alignment. Like you can't be anything other. And if you break your alignment, you might lose the benefits of that class. they've kind of changed that a lot. Now it's like, well, you can have an alignment if you want. If you're lawful evil and everybody is lawful good, there's the key word is that you guys are all lawful. One's going to be innately more selfish versus the good of all. So, it depends. I don't know if you do use it, if you decide that you're going to have this morality system in your world that is so heavily bound to these boxes, you're going to have to figure out what your players fall into and how that's going to actually apply to their relationships together. Because if you have one person that is just like a chaos to the highest extent, like super chaotic, they just do stuff out of pocket all the time, for no rhyme or reason. Sometimes, they just do stuff and then they're like, well, I'm chaotic, woo, this is me. It might become abrasive pretty quickly in your game. Or if you have people that are just full out murder hobos, evil to the highest, I've heard people talk about how they've run a completely evil campaign. They're all villains and how fun that is. And I'm sure it is, but I guess for me, like, I don't like I like the idea of people finding their own heroicism, whatever that means, and not necessarily like the spiral into villainy. So I've never liked just killing for killing ever, like, or just let's go in and okay, we have this purpose, we have to talk to this guy. Okay, now we're murdering this guy. Where was the disconnect? I don't like fighting just to fight. I like there to have some sort of weight to it, and that's where the alignments, I guess, come in, if that's what you hold yourself to. But let me grab the book. I'll slip her away.
You grab that, and I'll say too, I think in my experience, while I've been playing, I don't really feel like the people I've played with have necessarily adhered to it in the way that maybe it was originally written. Like, I don't think I've ever sat down and played and 100% of the time had people go, okay, well, my character is lawful good, so we're definitely going to make this decision 100% of the times. Because eventually you're going to come across a judgment call that you have to make for yourself as your character, and that might not sync up with your alignment very well. I like developing the character through improv, and I think if I was holding myself to a little square where I put like a little dot that said I was chaotic neutral or whatever, I think that would stifle my creativity a little bit. Like, I would probably end up getting fixated on what I think I am besides like what my character is. But that's also just how I play. I play in a very improv manner, which I guess is kind of the alternative, right? Like, I listened to a few podcasts for real plays, and I've noticed a lot of people either don't care about alignment or have gone away from it or have openly talked about the fact that it's just not allowed in the campaign.
Well, I think that it can be very like I used the word abrasive last time, when you're trying to do stuff. Like, I think you get a lot of people doing that whole, well, this is what my character would do.
Yeah.
As they're doing something that's like completely ridiculous, instead of using their brains. Like, okay, sure, your character would slaughter a whole family, but maybe are they then psychopathic with no switch? Because that's not how it typically runs. Like, where they lose, like, now you're basically a feral animal doing it. The alignment,
Get it down.
here we go. It says it's a combination of two factors. One identifies morality, good, evil, neutral, and the other describes attitudes towards society and order. So lawful, chaotic, or neutral. And that's how the 9 distinct alignments are described. And lawful good is creatures can be counted on to do the right thing as expected by society. Yeah, that's me. Neutral good, folk do the best they can to help others according to their needs. I mean, I feel like I'm more neutral good, but, you know, I am pretty lawful. Chaotic good, creatures act as their conscience directs with little regard for what others expect. Lawful neutral individuals act in accordance with law, tradition, or personal codes, like monks. Neutral is the alignment of those who prefer to steer clear of moral questions and don't take sides. Colin. Doing what seems best at the time. Chaotic neutral are creatures that follow their whims, holding their personal freedom above all else. I think I had Shale as like chaotic good. But I think that she was more neutral good, I think, is really where she fell. Lawful evil, creatures methodically take what they want, within the limits of a code of tradition. Loyalty or orders. Neutral evil is the alignment of those who do whatever they can get away with without compassion or qualms. Chaotic evil, creatures act with arbitrary violence spurred by their greed, hate, or bloodlust. So, I feel like, you know, when you start to get into that, like, either you are holding yourself to that, you know, or you're not. They do apply it to the creatures in the multiverse and the universe that you run into, like gods and... but they also, like, apply it to races.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people are moving away from alignments, because now you're labeling a whole race as, oh, they're evil when they might not be, you know, or it's
not cool.
Yeah, it's not okay. So
no.
That's why I think a lot of people are moving out of it. Plus, it, like, I feel like it might limit storytell.
Oh, I definitely think it limits storytelling too. Also, you know, we're, like, even just as people, we're very wishy-washy, I guess, for lack of a better term, but our whole lives, even like throughout the course of like a week, you could have a bad day and your alignment could drop to something else. You know,
right.
You could have a bad experience and that changes your whole perspective and alignment and everything like that. I mean, you know, I would say when I started playing Brennan, I was playing him one way, which was he was an elf fighter, so he was very flourishing and just like only there to be pretty and do cool stuff. And then as that campaign went on, he had a big change intentionally. Like I intentionally wanted him to have a change because he got to the point where he's like, why am I doing any of this? What does all this mean? What does all this matter? And like the sort of the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm stretching. The idea of looking at himself so selfishly and vainly, that's what I couldn't think of, was really like dissipated in like the middle of that arc and towards the end to be something totally different. And I think if you're stuck in an alignment and if you need help with a character, that's fine. Like, no judgment there. If you're not as a person who typically is creative or can storytell or anything like that, that's fine. Do whatever you need to do to play the game. But I just think when you're sitting there staring at something you're robbing yourself of a natural arc that can come out of situations that you can't account for or plan for. As soon as you start rolling the dice and telling the story based on dice rolls, and when things fail and succeed and everything in between, if you're trying to stick to an alignment, like I'm trying to think, maybe a lot of people who play paladins do, because the stereotype is very like religious and very good and very shining knight. The thing about the shining knight stereotype is that it was kind of BS. Like, knights were not necessarily good people. They've just been kind of pushed to this Arthurian
romanticizing,
romanticized thing. It's very much in a way of like, not all people who live in the South are rednecks, but you can look at that in a ton of different ways. And if you only say everyone, just like the alignment, calling everybody who's goblins or whatever evil, like that's all, that's the same thing.
Yeah. When I played in a campaign long ago where my character was like a thief, and the guy was playing, so we had like a paladin, I think he was, and I can't remember the other two people, but he got insulted because my character met his character's parents, but they had just spent, the DM had just spent all this time like really pushing the fact that like these under elves had come and like had been using magic to like infiltrate the high elf society.
Yeah.
And so they were acting in a way that my character found suspicious, and because of like their background, and they've worked with elves and whatever before, and so she was suspicious, and I was like, so she brought it up like during like the campfire, where everyone likes to sit around, and they're like, oh yeah, your parents are so great, and he's like, yeah, because they like dressed up in, I don't know, they dressed up in flannel, I think, trying to like be cool with everybody, and I was like, my character was immediately like, this is sus, what's going on here? And his reaction was, well, I'm gonna kill you. And I was like, what? And out of character, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean you're gonna kill my character? Well, yeah, you have insulted me. I said, okay. And I am, I cannot take that. I'm like, okay, so you're not lawful good? And he's like, oh, I'm like, he's like, well, I can't. I'm like, okay, not only can you not hold your temper, A, paladin, but B, you insulted me and my honor, and this is how my honor dictates. And I'm like, no, it sounds like you have a temper issue, and no, that's not what it sounds like at all. It sounds like you're actually not lawful good. It sounds like you're actually in running the evil a little bit. And he's like, oh no, that's not it. So I don't know, I am not an alignment person. Like, I'll fill it in if I have to, but I just think it narrows your choice of how to play. Like, when I started playing in the same campaign you were, I had a different take on what my character was going to be. And then later, like, when we went to the Underdark and we were fighting, like, we had just done this big fight, and our cleric had this like huge moment where he went down and he like burned a prisoner. And to be fair, this guy was bad, big bad. He went down there. Yeah, he had it coming. Big bad, went down there, decided that he was going to kill this traitor, basically, and kind of in cold blood. it wasn't during a battle or whatever. Everything has been done. And he went and did his justice. I did nothing. Everybody like got up and they're like, "Oh my God, what is he doing?" And ran down there. And I think there's how many players at that point? We had a very big table, 8.
It was big.
So
Yeah.
it was big. I just sat there and my character, I was like, you know what? How would she react? She'd just continue drinking her morning tea and not even react. And then when he got done doing that, came up and sat with them, she was just like, here, have some tea. And that was that. Like, I understand your anger.
Well, I think that's what you have to think about too, is sort of the above table part is if you as players know what the other player has as their alignment, that's probably going to affect how you, in a very meta way, play the game. It's just another level. So I guess in a way it depends on how you want to play the game, but I think it's just a little constricting. But anyway, is there anything else that you want to add? Because I forgot that I have an appointment soon for the afternoon.
I'm very impressed with this. Like we got this going pretty good.
We got this going. No, I think it's a very genuine representation of 2 real life human beings who not stick to their alignments in real life.
No. It's honestly, when it comes to alignment, there's some controversy to it when it comes to applying it to whole groups of people, as there should be. I don't think it's fair. I'm glad that as like D&D has evolved, like that's not even a part of your character creation. It's like part of your backgrounds. And even then, like you get to decide what kind of background you have and who you are anyway. So really, like, it'll take you a few sessions. It'll take you a little bit of time, like a month, I feel, to really get who your character is anyway. Once you start really playing them, feeling them out, their personality will come. Or if you're just there to do one-shots, basically Monster of the Week, that's it, then your character is literally there to go murder and save the day. And with no other addition to personality, then you don't even have to worry about it. Just roll it out, But if you want something longevity-wise, and you'll figure it out, you'll get there. But alignment is just a little piece of the whole.
Yeah, don't let it bog you down at all, unless you need it to support your game. Okay, so we do this every Tuesday. You can find us on Twitch, YouTube, podcast, wherever you get those. I don't even know. How does the internet work? We're the Elder Elves. You can find us on Twitch and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. You can find me, ColinCarlton.com or ColinCarltonVO. And you're all over the place at one special name. What is it?
Obscure Abrasion, guys. You can come find me, TikTok.
You're burning up the threads.
Insta. Yeah, all those places. Burning up the threads.
Burning up the threads.
Wikipedia. No, I don't know.
All right, guys.
Google Maps.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
All right.